Okay, well, here we go. Bum, bum, bum. Dun, dun, dun. Interesting, this hopper is actually made of Lexan, a smoked Lexan, so you can actually see the grains from the side. It's a fairly decent sized hopper. It looks like it holds about 10 pounds. They're ribbed rollers, all three of them. Of course, this is the dry roller. Adjustable roller here. This is the top. And instead of knurled, the grains will fall in here. You know, the thought is they'll fall in there lengthwise and they'll get crushed or cracked, more or less cracking them open rather than cutting them. They make a lot less flour, I guess. Let's take a look here at the bottom. Alright. And that one, like I said, this is the widest gap right now. I haven't done this side. You have to do them equally, and they're hash marked on both sides. And so you want to set that up the same way. But that is the widest gap, and when you roll it over, it is on the long hash mark. So, yeah, right there. So actually, if you adjust the set screw just slightly with a minimal tension, you can actually feel the detents. There's one there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I suppose 11. And it says that there's 11 here, so not quite right. Right, so without the gapping tool, the instructions state set the top roller for the second longest hash mark. But in the instructions, it says the bottom roller should be set to the fourth hash mark. Well, fourth from which one? From the longest to the shortest, because that's a difference. 1, 2, 3, 4 is where I set it from the longest, but from the shortest, 1, 2, 3, 4 would be that hash mark. So I'm not quite sure what they mean in those instructions. And the tricky part about checking the gap on the bottom roller is you have to take the glass off. It's the plexiglass. Alright, so I get the gapping tool, and I have all of the gaps lined up for, I'm stacking them here, but I've got 90 thousandths of an inch right there. And according to the instructions, being on the longest mark is going to be 90 thousandths. So let's see if that's accurate. There's 90, supposedly 90 on the long hash mark. Yeah, so that's right then. So those hash marks are right. Let's go down to the 25 thousandths. And that's all by its lonesome. And that should be on the low end of the hash mark, the small hash. And same on the other side. Nope. Let's try 21. 21 works. About 24. Yep, 24 works. So it's pretty damn close. They say it's 25, and 24 gets in there perfectly. You can see that. Okay, so then that's it. They want it here. So what is that going to be? They said that that would be the best position for the top roller is on the second from the longest hash mark. Just snap that down. One out of there and put a 24 in there. Let's see what that looks like. There we go. So they want this at approximately, what's that, 45, 55, 79. So 80, we'll call it 75, 79 to 80. It's a little loose. Drive roller, bottom roller, gap. They wanted it at, well, the fourth one in. So what is the fourth one in? Let's find out. I've always said that between 50 and 55 thousandths is a good gap for milling grains, and they've got that at 45. But I would suspect with the ribs, they're much deeper than the knurl. Yeah, 45. It's much deeper than the regular knurled. I don't know if you can see the depth on that is fairly significant. So I believe what they were looking for is when they have the gap much wider on the top roller, like I said earlier, is to orient the grains so they're sitting lengthwise when they go through the ribs, and then they just get cracked. They don't get pulverized. And just to be sure, as it's coming through this bottom one here, it's going to pull through this way because the drive roller is going this way, and continue to crush them because they're going to be lined up in a linear fashion rather than the grains going through like this in a regular knurl. They're going to somewhat orient on the top roller because of the wider gap. That's my guess anyway. I don't know. But yeah, so the measurements on these are fairly accurate if you really just do the math. Like I said, 90 thousandths here, 25 thousandths there, and I verified that with the feeler gauges, so now I'm confident that I don't have to bring the feeler gauges out anymore. So I guess we're good. And I'm going to use their recommended settings because it sounds to me like they've played with the crush on this at the factory, and they've formulated that the top roller needs to be a little wider than the bottom, and la-di-la. So let's see what happens. I will try it out, but for now let's just put it together. All right. Okay, let's start putting the base on. That is a thing of beauty, I will say that. According to the... So I ran a sample crush through this, and that's what we're looking at there. So now I'll run a sample crush through the old one, and see what the difference is. It's going to go in there. Sample. Smells good. Standard crush. Go in that bowl, standard crush. A little less, I crushed a little less in this one. Well, let's take a look. Standard crush bowl. Yeah, broken grains. They're thoroughly crushed. Yeah. These, look like what I would expect. A bunch of empty husks. You don't need to have the flour to break down those. Okay. So here's the Captain Crush. A lot less flour, although maybe not. Yeah, a lot less flour in general. I suppose I see a little less
broken husks in here that are across the length of them. But that's subjective at best. Here's a good example of what it should do. See the kernel inside there, and that one right there. You can see it. It's in there still, but it's cracked open. I don't know, it just seems like less the amount of crush that I had. And I see a lot of husks that are completely intact. I do feel that way about this. It does seem to have a lot more husks that are intact but cracked open rather than cracked and then looks like they were cut across the length of them. Wow, with all this flour under my fingernails makes them look long, like I need to cut them. Probably do. Alright. There's definitely more busted husks in there. I think the perfect example of what I'm talking about. Oh, can I hang on to that? Yeah, this is not going to come out on camera. See how that one's cut right along the axis? Right? That one right there. You can see inside there. There's a lot more of those. It's hard to tell on the camera, but there's a lot more of those in here than there is in here. Here's one here. It's cut along the axis. Come on. Focus. 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 But, this isn't immune to it either. It has them in there. Just seems to be a lot less of them than there is in the standard crush, which makes sense. So that's pretty much how I see it. I don't really see a whole big deal here. So boys, don't waste your money. If you have the old grain mill, it's going to work just fine. This is nice. It's all Lexan, so you can see through it. But whoop-de-doo, the other one works just fine. And I hate to say it, but I don't know if it's worth the money. You're not really benefiting a whole lot here. Yeah, they look a little bit better. The truth will be, sorry, it's so cold out here, I can't even talk. The truth will be when I actually brew if my efficiency goes either up or down. Ooh, that's cold. You never have 10 degrees Fahrenheit. Cheers, boys. Happy Homebrew Wednesday. Wow, that's cold.